I know that they're going to switch out, so I have the switch trait ready. It's Giratina. This is basically the double ice trap. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, we do upload daily PvP content, so please consider subscribing to the channel if that is of interest to you. And if you're a returning subscriber like Genuine Hines, thank you for your support. So in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the same team from yesterday, Double Ice. A lot of you had some questions about how I deal with Registeel leads, Melmetal leads, even a Charizard lead. You know, there's a lot of leads that aren't too favorable for this team, and we're going to take a look at some of them in this matchup because I did a set of 5 battles and we did end up running into a lot of those Pokemon. So let's get right into these battles here. And in this first matchup here, we are going to be going up against Ryoshi, and we're going to be facing a Registeel lead in this first matchup. Now there are two particular ways to play this. One is to stay in with the Articuno, debuff the Registeel 2 times, and then let it faint, bring in the Swampert. The other option is suggested by one of my viewers actually, Carl Andrews, who suggested switching to the Lapras, just going for the Surfs and sort of sacking the Lapras, and then bringing in the Swampert the same way as you would with the Articuno. So in this particular matchup, I'm actually going to go with the Articuno strategy. So I'm going to build up to the Icy Wind and throw that, of course. And Registeel should beat us to the first Flash Cannon, but it looks like the opponent's actually choosing to over farm here. So we're going to get off the first Icy Wind. That's totally fine by me. And now the Registeel is going to throw the Flash Cannon. So after this Registeel throws a Flash Cannon, we will survive this and we'll be able to get to a second Icy Wind. We should get there at the same time as the Registeel, but Articuno wins the CMP, so we should get off the Icy Wind first. So as you can see here, I didn't even get halfway to the second Icy Wind, and the opponent already has another Flash Cannon. You can see here on PvPoke, we're supposed to get to a second one before the Registeel. We didn't even get to it, we got halfway there, so I have no idea what is going on here. He overfarmed, but that shouldn't make a difference. So at this point, I'm like, okay, this is a little weird. So I bring in the Swampert, and I know this Registeel has 0 energy for sure, because it's impossible for them to have thrown 2 Flash Cannons that have leftover energy. So we should get to the Earthquake at the same time as the Focus Blast, more or less. So this kind of looked like it. This makes sense, I suppose. Opponent is going to get to the Focus Blast, we get to the Earthquake. And because he threw, I'm going to overfarm a little bit before throwing the Earthquake here. So we're going to throw this Earthquake, and we're down to half health. But, you know, it is what it is. Earthquake comes through, and the opponent is going to bring in the Cresselia. So at this point, I'm going to throw the Earthquake right away. Opponent still has 2 shields. And I am counting the cycle cuts at this point because I was a little bit confused about what had happened in that earlier scenario with the Registeel. So the Cresselia did farm up to 7 cycle cuts, and that would be enough for a Moonblast. Grass Knot would require 6, so if they go for Grass Knot, it's going to KO, and they'll have 1 cycle cut left over. So we do go down, and this is 3, 4, so 4 cycle cuts, and they switched out into Melmetal. So Double Steel is pretty much the worst team, one of the worst teams you could ever run into with this team, and if you face Double Steel, you pretty much can't win, it's impossible. So Registeel in the lead, Melmetal in the back, pretty much just as difficult as Registeel, Poliwrath in the back. You're not going to run into that type of team very often, but when you do, you can't really do anything, and you're just going to have to take the loss because this team is not built to face Double Steel when you are running Double Ice. So I'm just going for the Surfs here. It's really uphill battle at this point, and there isn't much of a win condition for us. I would have to throw the Surfs. I mean, he has 2 shields as well. So I'm going to have to start committing my own shields here and just see if I get rid of the Melmetal, because the Melmetal is kind of a problem at this point. So I do choose to shield this. And the Rock Slide comes through. So this Melmetal is going to throw another Rock Slide, and I'm going to have to shield once more. And then I would throw the Surf at the Melmetal. So he actually switches out into Cresselia, and Cresselia does another cycle cut. So that would be 5 cycle cuts that Cresselia has currently. And I go for the Ice Beam here, which is not going to KO. And they get off the Grass Knot or Moonblast, whatever they got off. This is only 5 Cycle Cuts, so they should not have got to a charge move here. It's a Grass Knot. That would require one more Cycle Cut, so unless I missed one somewhere. Not that it would make a difference anyways, we're going to lose regardless, but there was a lot of interesting things that happened in that match, so we go 0-1 to start there. And we're going to go right into the next matchup, so Melmetal. We did get a lot of comments asking about Melmetal leads, so I'm going to go Articuno into Melmetal here. And I'm just going to stay in this matchup with the Articuno, do the same thing pretty much, go for the Icy Wind. Rock Slide is going to come through. It's not going to knock out the Articuno, of course, so I'm going to throw the Icy Wind as soon as Rock Slide comes through. And we will get to the second Icy Wind at the same time as the Melmetal, but they're going to have to throw in order to not get hit by the Icy Wind. They will win. They will beat us to it, but if they don't throw it, if they try to farm, we're going to be able to throw the second Icy Wind. So they do choose to release the energy, which is totally fine by me, because now I'm going to bring in the Swampert. And Registeel with Poliwrath in the back is just as bad as the last matchup, so let's hope there isn't. And thank you, Victor, for causing this lag right here. As you can see, I can't switch. I'm clicking the Swampert. It's not allowing me to. Thankfully, the Swampert's in the second slot, because if it was the Lapras, I would have been totally screwed here, because it auto picks for me whatever's in the second slot. And you can see Swampert comes in. The Registeel is going to throw energy, and I know that they're going to switch out, so I have the switch tray ready. It's Giratina. This is basically the double ice trap. You get rid of the first ice, and they switch in something that's weak to another ice, in this situation Giratina. So I'm just going to take all these hits, and we're in a pretty decent spot here. So I'm going to throw the Ice Beam, I would assume, at some point. Yep, so we're going to take another Dragon Claw. I'm not really looking to use any shields here unless they start using shields. So they throw Dragon Claw. I'm going to throw this Ice Beam. Ice Beam's not going to KO, but it's going to put it in a nice farm down range. And then we should be able to farm down and have some Surfs ready to throw at whatever comes back in. Possibly the Melmetal. We'll have to see. So you can see that Ice Beam almost takes it out. We are just short of farming down. We're going to have to take one more charge move. That's fine. It's not going to KO. And it's going to put this Lapras lower, which is also good because it gives it less health to get farmed down with. So we have enough for one Ice Beam or a Surf. Probably going to throw the Surf here. Yep, it is. Oh, it's an Escavalier. Okay. So we're going to throw the Surf. And we should get farmed down here, I'd imagine. I actually switch out because we don't want to get farmed down. So I bring in the Swampert. Don't want to give this Escavalier any free energy. So we're going to switch out and have that Lapras in the back as a potential sack swap if we need it. So we do get the shield from the Escavalier. And they bring back in the Melmetal here. And at this point, Melmetal has quite a bit of energy. So I'm going to farm up a lot. And this first one's probably going to be a Rock Slide just because they don't want to debuff themselves. But I have to shield it anyways. We have 2 shields. And now we have just about enough for 2 Hydro Cannons. So I'm going to throw this first Hydro Cannon here. And let's see if this Melmetal is going to choose to shield. I have another Hydro Cannon ready. They do not, so it goes through. We get the Mud Shot in. And we have enough for another Hydro Cannon here. Going to build up for 2. And then I'm going to throw back to back at this Escavalier. So we're going to shield this up here for sure. That's why we saved the 2 shields. And we're going to build up for 2 Hydro Cannons. Seemed like there was a little bit of lag there. So I actually just throw the Hydro Cannon right away. And now we should get to the second Hydro Cannon. And I believe this will be enough to knock out the Escavalier. If it is not, I'm ready to switch out into the Lapras to potentially catch a move there. But it was enough to KO, and we're going to end up taking that game. So as you can see there, Melmetal lead. It is difficult, but it's not impossible to win with this team. So Yuki Papa 1970 is up next. And we're going to lead Articuno into the Swampert. So a very good matchup for Articuno here, obviously. And they switch out into Escavalier. So with this Escavalier matchup, I'm going to throw the Icy Wind here because I want to debuff it first. And now that the attack has been debuffed on this Escavalier, we have the option to either stay in this match or to switch out. It's very likely that we're going to end up winning this match up, especially because the Swampert actually didn't throw any energy at us. So because of that, I'm going to choose to burn the shield on the Mega Horn, and now I'm committed to staying in this matchup, maintaining the switch advantage, because I have my own Lapras and Swampert, which could handle the opposing Swampert in the back, and I should be able to get rid of this Escavalier with enough energy still left over to get to one more Icy Wind. So let's see what happens here. It's gonna be a Mega Horn. At this point it's debuffed, so it's not as bad. And going for a very aggressive farm down here. This is a little bit risky, but we were able to do it. So now we have enough for, I believe, 2 Icy Winds. And the Melmetal comes in. So again, here's another Melmetal matchup. This time it's in the back. And Melmetal in the back is a lot more playable, especially when we have control of switch advantage, because we can line it up with our Swampert. So I'm debuffing the Melmetal here. It's going to switch out, obviously, for sure. So once my Articuno goes down here, I'm going to bring in the Swampert. He actually switched out into his own Swampert, which is actually even better for me, because now we have the option. I could either shield this, go for the Icy Wind. I'm not going to do that though. I'm going to let this go through, let it waste its energy, save my shield, and I'm going to bring in the Lapras here. And the reason I'm bringing in Lapras instead of Swampert obviously is because I need the Swampert for that Melmetal match in the back, which is a very dominating position. And the opponent has yet to see that we have a Swampert because Articuno did so much work there. So I throw the Surf. He's saving his shields for the Melmetal, but they're not going to be of much use against the Swampert. So this is really good for us. If we had brought the Swampert, of course he would start using his shields. So Earthquake comes through. That's fine. I was expecting a switch there, but it actually didn't come, so I decided to throw this Surf instead. Opponent at this point looks committed to saving its shields for the Melmetal. Swampert goes down, and now I'm going to instantly switch into our own Swampert, and the opponent's actually going to choose to back out there with the 2 shields, just because of how dominant of a situation that is. So we're 2-1 here, going up against Shin Leon Go. And I did have that one comment in the last video saying that Swampert beats the whole team. Obviously you can see that's not the case when opponent clearly quit with the Melmetal. Sorry, he said Melmetal beats the whole team, but Swampert obviously beats Melmetal. So Gliscor in this match, very spicy lead, and the opponent switches out into Cresselia. Now, the beauty of this team is that we could stay in this matchup. Articuno is my best counter for Cresselia, but we could also stay in this because I have the Lapras in the back for that Gliscor. Even Swampert will do pretty decent against Gliscor, so I mean, the Gliscor is something I'd love to see there. You're not going to see it very often, but it's perfect for us, and it allows me to stay in this matchup with the Articuno. So I'm going to throw these Icy Winds at the Cresselia here. And we're just debuffing this Cresselia. At this point, I am committed to winning this matchup because I want to maintain switch advantage. So I am going to eventually shield. Choose to do it this time against the Moonblast. And we do not get the attack debuff, thankfully. This is probably one of the only games where I have not been attack debuffed yet. So I'm going to throw this Icy Wind here. And we're just chunking away at this Cresselia. Now it's pretty much at the point where it will get KO'd by the next Icy Wind. So I'm going to let this go through. It is a Moonblast. Not going for Future Sight here. So not going for Future Sight here may lead me to believe that they are running Grass Knot as the second move. So that's not good for my Swampert, so it's a good thing that we are getting rid of this right here. And they actually choose to burn a shield and switch out into Heracross. So at this point, I'm hoping I can get to the Icy Wind. We just fall short of it, so that was really bad for us because we let the Heracross farm down and we didn't get the debuff. So now they have a lot of energy. We put ourselves in a really tough spot. It's a gamble there whether you think you get to the Icy Wind or not. I don't face very many Heracross, so wasn't sure. Took the risk, it backfired, and now we're in a tough spot. But remember, we still have Lapras against the Gliscor in the back, which is going to be really dominant. So it's not the worst situation. And letting this Heracross go down is amazing for us because the Heracross is the biggest threat. It's going to beat the Lapras too. So if we can get rid of it here, this should not KO. Close combat does not KO. We're going to throw this Hydro Cannon right away. Definitely don't want them to shield, but if they do, it's not a big deal at this point. But the Heracross is pretty much done. So they let it go through. And now I know Gliscor's coming back in, so I'm switching into Lapras. And they actually tried switching into Cresselia. They had a charge move ready. I actually totally forgot they had Cresselia still. So Cresselia is going to throw a Moonblast. Let's see if it lowers the attack. Does not. And now we can commit to a straight farm down. And the Gliscor is going to come in. We could just throw this charge move at it. And obviously the Gliscor is going to be taking a lot of damage here with either move, Surf or Ice Beam. So he's actually going to choose to just back out of that matchup. And we are going to take that game. So we are 3-1 heading into match number 5 against Psyduck on the run. And again, we're going to be leading Articuno here, and let's see what we're going to be met with on the opposing side. So it's a Charizard. Okay, so this is another interesting matchup here. So Charizard versus Articuno. A lot of people are running Hurricane on their Articunos now, so many Charizard users are not going to expect you to throw the Ancient Power. So in this situation here, this first one honestly seems like it's going to be a Dragon Claw. So I'm going to actually let it go through, which is a little bit risky because Blast Burn would KO. But I don't think he had enough energy there for Blast Burn, if I remember correctly. So I'm going to throw the Ancient Power. He lets that go through, and at this point that's amazing for us because we could farm down now. And if this is Dragon Claw, it won't KO, but I don't want to take any risks here. So I'm just going to shield up and commit to the straight farm down. But he actually switches out into Clefable. So now what I'm going to do is throw this Icy Wind at this Clefable. And then I'm going to switch out. And we're going to bring in the Swampert here. And we don't really need the Swampert for that Charizard either because, you know, Lapras could also handle the Charizard. The Charizard is really low. And because this Clefable has actually been debuffed, this matchup for Swampert's a lot better than it normally is. And we're going to be doing really well here. And Charizard lead with the Clefable back most likely is going to mean double Charm Team. So hoping for a Togekiss because Lapras will run that over. And I'm going to throw the Hydro Cannon. They actually choose to burn a shield, which was pretty interesting there. And I honestly think we could survive whatever they throw here, but I'm going to shield just in case. Because now I could farm down before they get to another move. So now I have energy for another move. And let's see what they're going to choose to bring in here. They bring back in the Charizard. And I'm just throwing the Hydro Cannon here. Want to get rid of this Charizard, get it out of the way. And I'm pretty sure they have another Charmer in the back. So I know Lapras is going to be really good if it's Togekiss. It's Granbull. So not the best situation, because Granbull's close combat is going to be hurting Lapras. So we definitely prefer to see Togekiss there. But Granbull, still playable match, especially after getting that Hydro Cannon on it. Lapras could come in here. And they have a shield here. We could probably just commit to the farm now, but I'm actually going to throw the Surf. And the reason I'm throwing the Surf here is just to get rid of that shield. Because, well, really there's no point to it. I guess I thought I could get to a second Surf. Because close combat still should not KO here, and it's going to lower the defense. So Ice Shard should be enough to feint down. So I should have just went for a straight farm down instead of throwing the Surf, to be honest. It would have guaranteed us the win. But we end up taking that match regardless. We go 4-1 in this set. We did face double steal, so it was impossible anyways. But as you can see, this team, it's pretty damn good, and I've been doing really well with it lately. I'm close to 2800 now, actually, just from using this team the past day. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like, commenting, subscribing to the channel. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.